Ladies, let's talk about checkout. Checkout is the most important part of your show. And I think that sometimes it's the part of the show that we rush through the most. So I just want to take a couple minutes and I want to talk about that very precious time at the end of your presentation when you have an opportunity to talk one-on-one with each one of your guests. As a jewelry lady, what are the 3 things that you want to accomplish at every jewelry show? You want to book more shows, you want to find some prospects that might join your team, and you want to sell your jewelry, right? Well, at checkout, you have the opportunity to do all 3 of those things if you focus, take a breath, and take some time to talk to each one of these women. I think if we were honest with ourselves, we would confess that there have been nights where we just rush through checkout. There's a line of women waiting just outside of the checkout area, anxiously holding their order forms and looking at their watches and wanting to get home, and so you're just rushing through. We need to not do that. We need to take a breath and we need to visit with each person and make sure that we ask each and every person if they would like to have a show and not feel pressured. Remember, if someone is really, really stressed, they can leave the order form and they can leave a check. I've seen it happen before with the hostess, and that's okay. We can follow up with them later. We need to focus on the person that's here with us now. So let's talk about some tips on how to make it go more smoothly. Well, I'm a big supporter of home hostess coaching. And so I believe very strongly in going to the location of the show ahead of time so I can kind of scope it out. So I decide where I'm going to put my jewelry, where I'm going to do the presentation, but I also decide where I'm going to do checkout. So I'm already mentally prepared with what I'm going to face. So if she's got an office, that's obviously perfect, right? You're going to sit behind the desk and you're going to have a chair and you're going to be able to talk to them and there's a door and it's just perfect. But most homes don't have that. So you're going to have to be creative. If you can find a front room, a hallway, all you need are 2 chairs, really, 2 chairs. Now, don't pick a congested area. So there's a nice table in the kitchen that seems like a very logical place to check people out, except everybody's going to be milling around in the kitchen and it's going to be really hard to focus one-on-one with your guest. So if there's another option, take it. If there's not, make the best of it. If you're in a very congested area and that's really your only option, then kind of get your 2 chairs close together with your back to them so that you can focus on your guest and not be interrupted and just create sort of an imaginary zone. Now, there's some things that I say that are subtle that people get the message. So I'll be with a guest and I'll say, go ahead and tell them I'm open. So she'll go out and she'll repeat exactly what I told her to say. She'll go, she's open. And it sets a tone that that's my office, that's my space, and it's sort of appointment time. And so it really kind of sends a vibe for people to come in just one at a time. Oh, are you available? Yes, I'm available now. Now, as soon as I have a guest finish and there's no guest waiting, I pop up and I go back out and I see if anybody needs me. If nobody has any questions, I will actually announce, ladies, I'm open, I'm available. Does anybody need me to check out? At the end of the night, if I'm wondering about a couple people that are milling around and they didn't actually place orders, are they going to place orders? I'm not really sure. I will say to the hostess, hey, can you just go check and see if we've got all the orders, everybody that wants to order. That sort of wraps things up. Now, another thing that I do is that when I don't have a guest and I've gone out and maybe they're just not ready to order yet and I've checked with them, I'll start cleaning up. So make sure that you use that checkout time wisely, that once you've checked with your guests, if no one's waiting to check out with you, then be a part of them, be among them by cleaning up, because then people will grab you and ask questions as they think of it. I've gone specifically over to groups of people sitting over by the couch and I'll just say, hey, is there anything I can do? Is there anything you need to see? Any questions? And if not, then I'll just gather up catalogs or the jewelry that's all over the place, my boards, my prizes. I take down my mannequin, things like that. So I'm there among them so they can grab me, but I'm also purposely cleaning up so I can get out faster. All right, so now let's go to our checkout area. Ideally, you're going to be separated off from everyone else. So maybe a front room with just 2 chairs. And so I will use my checkout notebook and just have that in my lap, which is just a 3-ring binder. If you've watched any of my other trainings, I'm a big proponent of the checkout notebook. So I would just have my checkout notebook in my lap. And the other things that I'm gonna have with me, and I'm gonna set all this stuff aside before the show starts. I'm gonna decide where my checkout area is, and over by my checkout area will be my checkout bag, which will have my checkout notebook. It will have my calendar, okay? And it will have, obviously, I have a little money bag that I use, and inside is a calculator, or I just use my phone, my little ProPay money slider, right? My extra cash that I need for change, and a little notebook so that I can jot down notes if they decide to watch the video. Now, with your calendar, one of the things that you want to have is you don't want to hand them. A lot of women are very visual, so they're going to want to look at a calendar. Let me think, what do I have then? And they want to look at your calendar. So you don't want them to look at your calendar, especially if you only have one jewelry show. So you can print out online just pictures of calendars, and you can have the next few months. And you want to have highlighted when you want to have shows. So in yellow, I have when I have my available dates. Now, if you're going to do something like hot dates, different dates could have different values of extra free jewelry or extra special prizes. I have marked out my jewelry shows already, and I've jotted down some things that I'm doing premiere-wise. If you're doing something with your family, this is not a calendar that you're going to have absolutely every activity, but if you need to block out a date because it's kindergarten graduation, then put a big X through it and say not available. Because if you have any kind of special where you say in the show that you have hot dates, I've literally handed my calendar to them, and they've passed it around to grab the date that they want and written their name on it. So then you can put this neatly into your calendar. This is a great visual if you have the next few months, and especially, like I said, if you want to give certain prizes for certain dates, you can mark that down in your calendar. So you're going to want to have that. Then after the show's over, you're going to go over and you're going to want to take your guest surveys. Okay, so you have your guest surveys. And make sure you go over your guest survey. So as soon as the show's over, I leave my jewelry right where it's at, and I go to my checkout area and kind of get myself all set up, and I go through my guest surveys because I want to know who said yes to things, who's interested in Premiere, who would do a show maybe later or a catalog show, so that I am sure to talk to them about it. If you don't go through your guest surveys, then the value of them goes way down, because remember what I always share with you. At the jewelry show, there is pixie dust that comes down that magically falls upon all of the women that are there, and they think, oh, jewelry, jewelry. And if they've put anything on here where they're slightly interested, now is the time to get a date. When they walk out the door without giving you a date, the wind hits them and all the pixie dust falls off of their body. And the next morning when you call them, it's harder to get a show. So we want to get our dates that night in checkout, so this time is so valuable. You're also going to need your own set of catalogs, so don't give them up. You want to make sure when somebody's, maybe, oh, they got this particular necklace, but they didn't get first choice. And you could say, oh my goodness, first choice looks so pretty with that pendant. And you can turn to it. And that's how you can upsell her right then and there. You need catalogs. So you're going to have your calendar, you're going to have your catalogs, you're going to have your money, your ProPay swiper, your smartphone so that you can swipe the credit cards. And you're going to have your checkout notebook in case somebody books a show. Okay, now another thing that you need is whatever it was that you were offering at the show for booking a show. You want it sitting there. So, I do my 20-20-20 activity. So you're going to want all of that money just sitting right there. So when they sit down, you can say, oh, You didn't take any of my money. Did you want to take some of my money so that you can get a ton of free jewelry? And that is a neat way to just ask each and every person as they sit down. So we're going to want that as well. Okay, so you've got your whole little checkout area all ready. And sometimes it's, like I said, just 2 chairs, not even a table, and that's okay. We can totally deal with that. I'm really more interested in having an intimate conversation with them. Okay, so she's gonna come up and I'm going to say, I'm just gonna pretend that you are my guest, okay? So, hi, did you have a good time, Susie? I'm so glad. So I can't wait to see what you picked. I know that one necklace looked so good on you. Did you decide to get it? You did? Oh, that's great. I love it. Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful. Hey, you did not take some of my money. How come? What about you and getting some free jewelry? Don't you think that would be a blast? We had so much fun tonight. How come you didn't take any? And she's going to tell me whatever her reason is. I don't have any friends. Now this is the time. All you want to get to is her reason. Once you get her reason, then you can start to overcome it. I will tell you a good tip if you're not getting shows that you can do. You can literally write down in the notes section her reason she can't have a show. And then you can review that with your mom and Premier. So let's say you're a jeweler that's struggling to get shows, and I ask that question and I say, so how come you didn't take the 20s and book a show? And she gives me, I don't know, I just didn't want to. Just say, you know what? I'm actually really trying to learn, and I'm in a contest with my mom and Premier, and I'm supposed to, she challenged me to write down everybody's reason. Can you just give me a reason? And then you write that down on her, say, oh, okay, so time. Well, now you have a reason. Well, you know it doesn't take much time. We could even do a lunch show. We could meet at Panera. I do your invites for you. I mean, I'll even bring the snack if that's, you know, intimidating to you. I'll bring brownies and pop. And now you're cooking, because until you get to the point that you can start talking to her about her options, you're not gonna overcome her objections in order to book her. You have to find a reason to start a conversation. Most women want free jewelry. I dare say all women want free jewelry, but there are reasons why they don't book shows. They are afraid no one will show up, so they fear that they have no friends and they will be embarrassed. So we have to tell her how really 1 or 2 people would be fabulous. They are concerned about their home. They are embarrassed about their home. And that includes a husband who would kill them. So we might find having it at Panera, having it at my house. We've got to give her options as to how she could have a different show, different type of show than what she's imagining, and time. So we have to say something like, well, you made it here tonight. That's all it pretty much is. It's just making it in one night. So we just need to find something on your schedule that works with you. I'll show up, your friends will show up, and you'll get some free jewelry. It'll be great. If you don't find out the reason that she's not wanting to get free jewelry, you will never overcome it. You need to get into a habit of finding out why each and every person doesn't want to have a show. And don't guess, don't judge, don't pre-assume that they're not going to want to have a show. You need to ask every person. Just point to your prize and go, how come you didn't take that? And find out. You've got to take the time to do that. Now, the next thing that I do on my guest surveys, I ask them if they will watch my video. So I'm going to look at their guest survey and see, or honestly, I might not even look because I just ask every single person. So I say, so are you going to watch my video to get the free Clip It? And then I wait. And they say, oh, yeah, or well. And so I can, again, talk to them about, oh my gosh, it's so easy. Just watch it. Once you watch it and you get it, you could share it with other people. And I have a really great referral program. If you share my video and they join my team, I give you $100 in free jewelry. So it's worth watching because you never know when you meet someone who might want to be a jewelry lady. And really, I'm just paying you to be my marketing department. So just watch it, get a free Clip It. It'll be great. Now, if they're going to watch it, I set up a time when I can call them and hear what they thought and find out the number on a scale of 1 to 10 of their interest level in hearing more. I'm going to write that down and write it on my calendar and then actually follow up and call her. That is the critical component here for us jewelry ladies that are busy. So you need to know when you're able to make phone calls and follow up with her before the jewelry show closes so that you can indeed add that free clip it to her order. Okay, so then the last thing is I'm going to look at her order form and I'm going to pay attention to how close she is to the special. My special is always spend $75 and get the next item 25% off. So if she's at $69 and we're off on our own, I can say, you know, you're so close to the 75. Is there anything else you want at 25% off? And she 9 times out of 10 will go, well, yeah, there was this one thing and she'll take the book. And you know, it's so funny because then I'll say, now, if you're gonna get 25% off, make it a juicy item because you want a nice big savings. So then they'll add, you know, a $50 or $60 item, 25% off. That really helps my retail. So having a special where they have to reach a certain amount, they might not remember it, but when you sit down, if you're doing your job, you can look at their order form, help them to get to that item number, and then get that extra item, or just let them have it because you're out here by yourself. Now, if you notice things that have been scratched off, that's really great too. Because you could say, oh, I see there were some things you were thinking about. How come you didn't get them? Then wait, let her answer. And she tells you, well, you know, my husband would kill me. Say, well, you know, what about having a show and getting it for free? Yeah, well, I don't know. I just don't do those kind of things. Well, listen, if you book a show in June, then I will buy this particular necklace for you and give it to you for free. And we can do your show at Panera, we could do it at my house, we could do it at a girlfriend's house, we could do it at lunchtime when your husband's still at work. It doesn't have to be an evening show like this. Now we're cooking and we'll see where that will go. Also remember to remind them about the hostess receiving the $50 gift card. So if there's only one left, and say you're doing deal or double deal, and you've got the cute little purses, then you want that one purse sitting there right in front of you. And then each and every person you go, we only need to give away one more and Jan gets that $50 bonus. What about you? What do you think? Are you curious what's inside? Okay, and now you're asking questions. You don't need to say, when every person sits down, do you want to have a jewelry show? You can be cute and fun. What about you? You didn't want to get any free jewelry? What about this prize? Don't you want that? Aren't you curious? And just ask her a question like that. Enjoy getting to know her, okay? Okay, so what if she says yes and she books a show? So you're gonna get her to commit to a date. Please remember that unless she gives you a date, it is not a booking. So you need to get a date. Now, what if she says, well, I just need to go home and talk to my husband? That's when I pull out my calendar and I go, well, you're gonna want June, right? Because of the amazing customer special. And what day of the week do you want? Do you want a Thursday night, a Friday night, or a Saturday morning? And she says, well, I think I really want a Thursday because it's summertime and people go away for the weekend. That's great, but I only have one Thursday. So do you think the 18th could work? And she says, it could. Let me pencil you in there and then I'll call you tomorrow and you can talk to your husband and we'll confirm that. But so I don't give it away to anyone else, let's pencil it in. If she said, I want a Friday night, I would say, well, I only have 2 Friday nights available. Do you want the last Friday of the month or the 3rd Friday of the month? Let's pick one and pencil it in so that the next people that come in to check out don't snag that date. So you ask her, hey, I always say, that's fine. We can confirm this tomorrow, but we need to pencil it in. We need to pencil it in for her sake so she gets the date she wants, and we need to pencil it in for the hostess's sake because if we do not pencil it in, she does not get the bonus. And then call her and confirm it. Once I set the date, if it's within the next 4 to 6 weeks, I'm gonna set up the time right now to home hostess coach her. I don't call it home hostess coaching. I simply say, okay, great. Now what I want to do is I want to set a time when I can swing by your house and look at where I'm going to put the jewelry and where we'll do the presentation. And I'll bring you some extra catalogs and we can just talk about how to have a great and fabulous show. So I like to do that during the day. Do you have any daytime availability next week? And then I set that date and time for about 20 minutes for me to go over and help her to have a great show. Making her my partner is the key to my success. So I believe strongly in coaching. If you can't get to her in person, do the exact same scenario, but set a time for a phone call. You could FaceTime her or talk just the traditional way on the phone, but you need to set a time and make sure she knows you're going to need about 20 minutes to go over everything. Now, even though I'm going to go see her, I give her all the papers that I'm going to give her when I coach her. And I say, you know what, these are just papers. I'm going to probably bring them again when I come and see you. But in case something happens and we have to talk just on the phone, I want to make sure you have them. So this is your wish list so that you can start dreaming. This is the paper for you to get your outside sales, and we're going to talk all about how you can do that. This is a game that we play that we will go over when I meet with you on how you can earn extra prizes from me just by doing some simple little things to make sure you have a really great show. This is what you're going to need right now. You want to start really brainstorming about who to invite. So this is getting 40 guests in 4 minutes, just brainstorming all the people that you know. And we're going to sit down and talk about what type of invites you want. If you prefer an evite or a paper invite. We can also text out invites. We can do a combination. But you need to start thinking about who it is you want to invite and we want to over-invite. So start brainstorming with that. And then, of course, this is the beautiful thing. You know how you're going to watch the video? Well, you're for sure going to want to watch it before the show closes because you get to double dip. You will get a free Clip It just by watching it and answering those 3 questions. But if you fill out this paper that I'm giving you about the follow-along sheet for the video, then you will get a jewelry organizer just like Susie did for watching it as a hostess, because I always give my hostesses an extra special treat for filling this form out for me. So just fill it out right away, text me a picture of it, and I will mark down that you get a jewelry organizer like she did, and it'll be great. I want you to take an extra set of catalogs, 1 set of catalogs, and I will bring you more when I come and see you because I want you to start dreaming and showing everybody, and I can't wait until you get all this free jewelry. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. Now, I want you to know that the majority of the people that I sponsor are my hostesses. So getting her to fill out that follow-along paper and giving her a really great prize to do it is the key to my success. I want her to do it right away, get the Clip It, because if it is going to be a training show, I want to have plenty of time to get her ready for that. I don't want it to be something she realizes 2 days before her show when she finally watches that video. If she doesn't watch the video to get the free Clip It, I will remind her before I go over to coach her. If she still doesn't watch it, I can ask her, hey, can I tell you about it right now? Then you don't even need to watch the video. I can just explain it to you. Or I say, go ahead and still watch it and just text me a picture as soon as you can so that I can bring that jewelry organizer. I will go as far as reminding her the day of the show, 2 days before the show, trying to get her to watch that video because it's never too late to decide to be a jewelry lady. So if somebody does book, I give them some of those papers. I typically do not take the time to coach them right there. If it's somebody that's going to have a show in less than 2 weeks and it's going to be very difficult for me to see them, I will ask them, hey, would you mind hanging out just a little bit until I'm done with checkout and we can talk? And then I coach them then. Oh, by the way, at the end, I will take the I Get Paid to Sparkle sheet, fill all that out for all the free jewelry that my hostess got, and then I will take that over to her and make sure I say that in front of everybody. And I go over her tic-tac-toe sheet that we went over when we home hostess coached, and I see if she gets any extra prizes. So that's all part of checkout, because she might be your 3rd booking for her to get that free, that $50 bonus. So, all right, take advantage of this time and build your business.